back for some more creepypastas. So today we're going to be reading The Plague Doctor. And let's get right into it. Turns out that the Plague Doctor is still out there. Turns out we're not the only ones interested in the disease. I think I should say diseases in the plural. Apparently, there are 3 kinds of plagues in the existence. There's the infamous bubonic plague, which infects the lymphatic system, causing a swelling of lymph nodes, which leads to an appearance of buboes. Then there's a less visible, far deadlier kind, pneumonic and septicemic, infection of the lungs and blood, respectively. I had no idea that there were 3 types of plagues, honestly. I had only found that out after getting sick with 2 of the 3 variants. That's what I think, at least. I was completely fucked up at one point to the point of hallucinating a bird-headed alien thing. For fuck's sakes, 2 of my roommates died from whatever we had. Young, healthy men don't tend to die from the flu. Everything's been upside down recently. I don't know what's wrong and what's right. Some days I genuinely think I'm stuck in a dream, but then I snap back into reality. Zane and Adam's room are empty. They are not coming back. Chris and I didn't make it to the funerals. We've told them that we weren't sure we were clear yet. That was a lie. We just couldn't handle the truth. I'm not sure if I still can. Everything is just so different now. It all started with the decomposing corpse of a cat Adam found at our doorstep in February. He kind of mentioned it as a side remark during that afternoon, saying he found it when he went out to work and that he tossed it as far as he could from the apartment. 3 days later, he got down with a stomach bug, or so we thought. It started with stomach aches, nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting. Soon enough, he was bedridden, paralyzed with a fever, and we just thought he was having the flu. It was the season, and there was a massive storm raging at the time. It was so bad we even lost electricity from time to time. By the end of the same week, we were all feeling the same supposed flu. My head was constantly pounding, and my body felt weak and almost numb. My digestive system was second. I started vomiting like crazy on the second day of my illness. It was so bad I couldn't put anything in my mouth. The mere idea of swallowing made me throw up. Chris and Zane were complaining of chest pain and difficulty breathing. I wasn't really surprised. They were coughing so bad one would think they're about to have a lung collapse on them. On the 3rd day of my illness, all 4 of us were bedridden and completely incapacitated. We just stayed in the living room together, and I guess we all got unbearably weak overnight together, probably watching some movie or something. It wasn't about taking care of each other. Of course we did care for Adam when he was in this alone, although we didn't really devote all of our time to him and everything just happened so fast. And all 4 of us were basically living corpses in the blink of an eye. We didn't see the doctor because we had thought we'd be fine, and when we knew we wouldn't be just fine, it was already too late. Then the electricity went out of the window due to the crazy storm outside. I remember jokingly complaining about being kicked out since it seemed like none of us would be able to make any money anytime soon. We all found it so hilarious we laughed till our entire bodies hurt. Not that much inversion was needed to get there. I kept making jokes and fooling around during my waking hours because I was genuinely scared. I have never felt so hurt and weak before. I've never felt so worn out. Hell, I've never been this sick up to this point. Not to mention how I was losing feeling in my legs from time to time and how my feet were all bruised from, well, nothing really. I didn't tell the other guys about this. I didn't want them worrying. They were worn out enough. 6 days into my illness, I couldn't really walk anymore. I just woke up that day not even feeling my legs. The other guys were still asleep, so I tried my best not to scream like a little child. I couldn't even feel my fucking legs. I smacked at my thighs a few times, but nothing. I felt almost nothing. My legs registered nothing. My fists felt as if I had been beating on a punching bed. I nudged my feet, but they wouldn't move. I had to shift my legs manually off the bed in order to try and stand up. I couldn't get myself to stand up straight. Once I pulled myself to my feet, I felt dizzy, and my legs felt like they were made of paper, so I immediately sat back down. That's when the pain from my wrist came knocking at my mind's door. I feared the worst. The idea that I've managed to break my arms flooded my mind. I felt my heart race like crazy for a moment. I slowly lifted my hands up to notice how my wrists were only red and blue. It was only bruising. Only bruising, I thought. I threw myself back down on my bed and immediately felt nauseous again. It was the worst nausea ever. I felt something making its way up my esophagus, even though I hadn't eaten properly in a while, so I just threw up. It stung so bad and my stomach felt as if I swallowed nails. Everything burned and stabbed inside. I felt like I had a bomb filled with shrapnel in my guts. Obviously, the noise woke everyone up. I didn't even pay attention to anything because I was in so much pain. My whole body was becoming numb with pain. I felt something run down my nose and into my lips. I remember running my hand across my face and looking at it. There was blood on my hand, blood running across my lips, and everything started spinning as if I were on a roller coaster. I felt so lightheaded I couldn't even form words in my head. I felt as if I was floating for a few moments that I came crashing down hard. My chest seized up as if I were being crushed under a bed of pure concrete. I coughed and coughed and coughed, and my throat went up in flames. I know Chris, who was faring the best out of all of us, was screaming something. At least I think he was screaming. No clue what he was screaming, though. I kind of blocked everything out involuntarily. I was simply focused on getting that coughing fit out of my system. My chest was on fire. My throat was on fire. I felt something sticky coming out of my mouth with each passing cough. It was thicker than sputum. I didn't even think about it at the time. Everything just kind of went gray on me as I passed out as the screams of my buddies trailed off in nothingness. I had a million dreams about being operated on by someone. I wouldn't call that a doctor. I mean, he was cutting me up and stuff, but it never hurt or anything. It was like I was just floating above my bed and this person thing, I don't know. It was drawing my blood in a few of those dreams. I don't even know. It felt so weird as if I was out of my own body. I wouldn't call it an out-of-body experience because I'm clearly alive and I know I was just dreaming. Well, at least I think I was dreaming. I woke up covered in a white sheet. I removed it from my face and the sunlight came in contact with my skin, sending me into a spiral of pain and vertigo. I closed my eyes shut and turned my head away. I was trying to make sense of what was going on. To my knowledge, there was a storm raging outside a few hours ago, and when I woke up, it was sunny. I felt lighter than before, too. I could clearly sense my legs, and I was feeling as if the truck ran over me, but still I could feel like I could somewhat operate my body. Everything seemed... Oh. The sunlight was slowly becoming less and less painful in my form, and I forced myself to look around. Everything seemed the same for the first moment or so, and then I noticed two white body bags laying where I remember Zane and Adam being where I passed out. What the fuck? I murmured to myself, sitting up as morbid thoughts flooded my mind. A monotone, sort of robotic voice cracked behind me. It said something weird in Russian, I think. I know what Russian sounds like, but it wasn't it. The sound freaked me out, and I was wondering all these crazy things. My heartbeat rose so quickly, and I felt lightheaded again. I was feeling myself slip out of it once again. This voice spoke once again in a heavy accent in English. Oh, you wake! Good. I forced myself to turn around as slowly as I could to see this BDSM-looking person thing with a bird mask on. It looked like a plague doctor from the movies with a bunch of belts around it. You had plague. I'm sorry. The thing spoke again. What? I managed to blurt out. I was really convinced it was an angel of death moment. You sick, very. The creature pointed its finger at me. I fix, it continued. What the hell are you talking about? I said with somewhat more confidence in my voice, in my words, as my breathing became shallower and my heartbeat fastened, making my whole body tense up. The thing lowered its head and poked something onto one of its wrists. Ah, there, he proclaimed with confidence. Now my translator's working properly. I am here to help you recover from the particular violet strain of Yersin's pestis, otherwise known as the plague. I have the plague? I asked the creature dumbfounded. Yes, you had it. Both your blood and lungs were infected, but I've since cleared it out of you. The creature proclaimed once more, this time pointing at a pulsating fabric lace thing that was lying on the floor, connected to my arm by a thin tube. I rubbed my eyes as my headache began subsiding slowly. Who are you? Or what are you? I'm a doctor. I came here to help you get rid of this bane before it kills you and spreads elsewhere. It seems to me like you don't have a cure for this condition. My people have suffered greatly from it. It went on. We've been driven on the brink of infection by this bane. It was too late by the time we've discovered a cure. Now there are not many of us left. Please, trust my intentions. I only want to spare your kind of suffering that I had to endure. What? I mumbled. I was too weak to comprehend what it was saying to me. The creature chuckled and ordered for me to rest, so I did. I was too confused and tired to argue. I even considered this part of being my fever dream, and then I noticed he was doing something to Chris. Hey, what are you doing to him? I inquired weakly. Replacing his bioplasma. What's the word? Blood. Yes, blood. I am replacing his blood. That's the only way, the creature reassured. Will he be alright? Yes, most certainly. What about the other two? Did you cure him? The creature paused for a moment. What is it? I insisted. Unfortunately, I didn't make it in time. Once I arrived, they were no longer among the living. I could hear the sorrow in his voice, but it didn't help in the least. I broke down screaming at the creature, namelessly blaming it for the deaths of my two best friends. I forced myself out of bed and clumsily made my way towards the creature that was standing with its back turned towards me. I grabbed this thing, which was taller by about a whole head than me, and tried to turn it to face me, demanding from it to fix my diseased friends. It kept on insisting that it can't. I didn't let up, and argued ensued. The thing finally yielded. Fine, they are your friends, he remarked, as he made some sort of movement with his fingers. A sound of thrashing came out from both of the body bags. I turned around to see the body bags being torn apart from the inside. My heartbeat skyrocketed, and I was watching the madness in front of me unfold. A blackened arm tore through one of the body bags. Another followed suit, and a blackened, bloated face sprung out of the body bag. It was contorted into an agonizing scream, and the stench. God, the stench. I stood there, frozen in shock until my knees buckled, and I fell into a puddle of dried blood and bile. The second body sprang up from the body bag and emitted a terrible gurgling sound. I felt myself getting sick again. I wanted to throw up so badly, but there was nothing to throw up. Stop, I begged. I couldn't handle the smell, and I sure as hell couldn't handle the sight. I can't. I feel like I'm gonna hyperventilate just from thinking about this again. Holy shit. You wanted this, the creature beckoned. I thought, I mumbled, it retorted. I told you. I wish to fix them, but I cannot. Please, make it stop, please. I burst into tears. The abominations that were once my friends collapsed back in their body bags, and I crumbled into a ball onto the floor and began wailing. The creature didn't utter a sound. It just kept doing whatever it was doing to Chris until it was finished. That came fairly soon after I broke down on the floor. I kept mourning the loss of my mates even after I ran out of tears to cry. I just rolled around in the organic waste on the floor, talking to myself about how I couldn't believe what was becoming of my life. At some point, this creature, the plague doctor, simply gathered up all his stuff and left. But before he left, he told me that Chris and I were going to be alright. I couldn't help but laugh at his attempt to calm me a bit down, and he just left. I'll be honest here, I'm not entirely sure if what I had seen was real or just some sickness-related hallucination like I mentioned beforehand. So it turns out I've been asleep for almost 2 months. Once that thing left, I turned on the TV to find out it was April. Another thing I found out that after the plague doctor left and took the corpses of my friends with him, it is that they were decomposing before he arrived. I found the disgusting decomposition marks all over the mattresses they were once lying on. Once Chris and I got enough strength to leave our resting spots the following day, after my encounter with the plague doctor, we headed out to the local police station and explained everything. It turned out that we indeed had traces of the plague bacteria in our bodies, were fighting off as if we were administered a powerful cure. No one has been able to really explain my comatose state the way I shook it off when I woke up. And yeah, I did mention a funeral. Well, after 3 weeks of searching, the police had located the bodies of Zane Ganam and Adam Sirskiny at a forest clearing not far from our town, surrounded by a bunch of dead animals. They were all radioactive as fuck. I could never imagine something like that. Like, that's just crazy. Also, I thought the plague doctor was evil. Like, I didn't think that he was something that actually was like, that could cure you or something, or like helped you. I get that he's a doctor, but in what I saw of like the SCP containment breach when people played is that he would chase you, but I don't know. I guess I don't really know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think down below. I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye bye.